Welcome to today's MMA news. We are live with our, I don't know, like 15th, maybe? Something like that. 15th episode of today's MMA news. And today, we got a lot of good stuff for you. If you want to get a quick peek into all of today's MMA news topics, this is it. All right, go fast. Matt Frivola, Paddy Pimblett, boom, boom, boom. This is all the MMA news that we're going to be talking about today. All of that. We got ranking update. Ranking updates are a huge part of usually our Tuesday MMA news. We got Greg Hardy. We got boxing news. We got some memes in there as well, of course. We got some new fights, some fighters getting cut from the UFC. We got some call-outs in here. We got some betting odds as well. We got a lot of stuff to go over. And if you did not get the look, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 27. Like almost 30 different MMA news topics. My counting isn't really the best, but y'all can kind of get the gist right there. So as we usually do, we are going to be doing our MMA news before we get into the betting breakdown that we are going to also be doing for UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. And if I'm not as energetic, if I'm not as into the MMA today, if I start to take a deep breath midway through one of these sentences, it's because I'm on a weight cut right now. I've already cut about 139, 136, about 13 pounds in the last 2 to 3 days. So I'm a little bit gassed out right now, but we got one more day till we got to make the weight. So again, that's going to be the reason why. But as usual, we're going to start with the MMA news, go over to the betting breakdown. Then, we'll give a quick pick predictions for UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. Then end the stream and then post all of those separate videos to the main channel as well as the secondary channel. So yeah, let's get into it. My mouth is getting filled with spit because of the damn weight cut, but let's get into it. First thing in today's MMA news, we're going to have to go over to Tapology for this one, as we're going to be having to go to UFC 281 with Matt Frivola. Let's find him. UFC 281, Matt Frivola getting a first round knockout against a guy that a lot of people thought was going to get, a first round knockout on himself in that fight. Now he's trying to fight a welterweight, a middleweight, a light heavyweight in Paddy Pimblett. Where is Paddy ranked on Tapology? He's fighting Jared Gordon. He is ranked 35, so right around where Matt Frivola is ranked. So right around the same range right there. Paddy the Baddie versus Matt Frivola. Let's get into this part of today's MMA news. MMA Joey will collapse in on himself like a dying star. Could very well happen. We go on to the first topic of the night. Matt Frivola wants Paddy the Baddie Pimblett in London. UFC 286, most likely going to be headlined with Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, taking on Leon Edwards in the main event, and somewhere on that main card could possibly be Paddy the Baddie Pimblett. Paddy the Baddie is going to be fighting Jared Gordon at UFC 282, Prochazka versus Teixeira. He is a slight favorite, taller, lengthier, younger, around the same experience as Jared Gordon. I personally have Paddy the Baddie winning by a late submission, kind of like how Grant Dawson was able to get that win, but it could very well be a unanimous decision, and that is going to be a pretty good one. But after this fight this weekend, Matt Frivola going out there and steamrolling freaking Atman Azaita round number 1, 2 round 1 KO wins in a row, beating a top 10 lightweight in the world in Jalen Turner, only losing to Terrence freaking McKinney in 7 seconds, and Arman Tsarukyan by a unanimous decision. Again, Arman Tsarukyan, 18-3, a guy that finished Joel Alvarez and Chris Jagos, a guy that went all the way with Islam Makhachev. I mean, this guy right here, Matt Favola, also went all the way, and now he's calling for Paddy the Baddy, win or lose, for Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon. Matt Favola would love to fight Paddy the Baddy at UFC 286 in London, and I agree with that call out. I think it's perfect based off of the rankings. I think it'd be an exciting fight, good round number one, especially with Favola landing some big shots on the feet. I think Paddy would win the fight late, but it would be a banger. Who do y'all think would win? Matt, the steamroller Favola, or Paddy Pimblett in the lightweight division? Do you think it'll be a finish, or you think the fight goes all the way? Next one in the middleweight division. Let's go also on to UFC 281. We're going to find those middleweight rankings in the world. Kamaru, the last style bender. I keep saying that. It's not the last style bender, but we go on to the UFC's middleweight division. MMA is so weird sometimes, says James Matthew on Twitter. Israel Adesanya has defeated Robert Whittaker 2 times. He knocked him out in one of those fights, and he got a decision win on Robert Whittaker. Alex Pereira has beaten Israel Adesanya 3 times. So Alex Pereira beat the guy that beat the guy twice, 3 times. He beat Izzy 3 times, who beat Robert Whittaker twice. However, says James Matthews on Twitter, I think I would favor Robert Whittaker over Alex Pereira in a 5-round MMA fight. Styles make fights, and I'm going to have to agree with that. Even though Pereira has beaten Israel Adesanya twice, has knocked out Sean Strickland, beat Bruno Silva and Andreas Michailidis, and Robert Whittaker has lost to Israel Adesanya twice. I don't care. Whatever happens here with Whittaker Acosta right here, if Alex Pereira beats Adesanya for a 4th time, and we see Robert Whittaker, Alex Pereira, I'm going to go Robert Whittaker. I agree with his tweet right here, even though he's got 3 wins over Izzy, and he's got 2 wins over Robert Whittaker. I'd still go freaking Whittaker to win that fight. Styles 100% make fights, especially in this middleweight division. Who do y'all think wins, Pereira or Whittaker? Next one in the UFC's lightweight division. Let's see if we can find it. Michael Chandler versus, see if we can find it. Ding, 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 ding. It was a while ago. Eddie Alvarez with a split decision. Let's go out because it kicked me out of that tab because Instagram is mean to me. All right, next one in the lightweight division. Former UFC lightweight champion who didn't really defend his belts immediately lost to Conor McGregor, giving him double champ status, is calling out Michael Chandler, and I think this is a perfect fight for Michael Chandler. Hey, brother, Michael Chandler at the UFC. I think it's time for round 3. Rest up, champion, then give these fans what they want. Michael Chandler versus Eddie Alvarez 2 was a Michael Chandler loss in a very controversial split decision. Michael Chandler's first ever loss as a professional MMA fighter. Before that, he rear naked choke submitted Eddie Alvarez in round number 4. They are 1-1 as of right now in MMA over there in Bellator. If we're bringing Michael Chandler into the UFC, we might as well bring in another banger fighter and another former UFC champion and a title challenger, I guess you could say, in Eddie Alvarez trilogy in the main event of a UFC fight night or on the main card of a pay-per-view. No matter what, it's going to be exciting. Who do y'all think wins, Michael Chandler or Eddie Alvarez? Next one in the UFC's, I forgot who these guys are in, the bantamweight division. Chris Gutierrez KOing the man, the myth, the legend, Frankie Edgar in round number 1 with a jumping knee to the face. Name some possible opponents to take on next in the UFC after UFC 281. He names Dominic Cruz at the top of that list, and he also has Pedro Munoz and Rob Font amongst the guys that he would like to face next in the UFC's bantamweight division. And I'm going to be honest, every one of these 3 matchups definitely excites me. Chris Gutierrez, the number 13 bantamweight in the world. A Pedro Munoz fight, number 10 versus number 13. A Dominic Cruz fight, number 8 versus 13. And a Rob Font, 7 versus 13. All of those fights make sense. Who do y'all think Gutierrez should fight next? Munoz, Dominic Cruz, or Ron Font, or maybe somebody else? Put your thoughts down below. Next one in the middleweight division. Let's go on to Lewis versus Spivak in the middleweight division. Cody Brundage and Rodolfo Vieira has been cancelled for UFC Fight Night. Spivak versus Lewis, or Lewis versus Spivak. The reason being, Vieira just withdrew. We're not sure if it was a weight cut issue. We're not sure if he got injured. He's got COVID. I don't know what happened with Rodolfo Vieira, but he has been pulled from UFC Fight Night. Lewis versus Spivak for undisclosed reasons. Cody Brundage will not be fighting at this UFC Fight Night. He will not be getting a replacement on short notice. Rodolfo Vieira, I did have him winning by a close decision, but who do y'all think would have won, Rodolfo or Cody Brundage? After that one, we go on to the bantamweight division. UFC bantamweights move in the rankings. Frankie Edgar goes outside of the top 15. Umar Nurmagomedov goes up one spot, because that's where Frankie Edgar ended up going down and outside of the UFC top 15. Umar Nurmagomedov, I just said that one. Pedro Munoz goes down one spot. I'm not too sure why. Yadong Song goes up above Pedro Munoz. And Chris Gutierrez entering the top 15 at number 13. What do y'all think about the top 15 rankings in the bantamweight division? Do you agree or disagree? Next one in the light heavyweight division, UFC light heavyweight ranking updates. We got a huge one here. Dominic Reyes going from number 7 in the light heavyweight division, getting knocked out by now number 10 Ryan Spann, moving all the way down to number 12 in the light heavyweight rankings. Previously, before that, only losing to Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prochazka, and the man, the myth, the legend, John Jones. He's been moving down these rankings quite a bit. We got Ryan Spann moving up to Volkan Oezdemir, Paul Craig, and Nikita Krylov all moving up one spot. Not 100% too sure why Volkan Oezdemir is below Paul Craig right there. I mean, Volkan just beat Paul Craig, so he should be above him, but, I mean, those are the light heavyweight rankings for you. Do you agree or disagree? Next one in the UFC's, the strawweight division. Weili Zhang, Weili Zhang, after gaining the UFC strawweight belt for the second time, first beating Jessica Andrade round 1 by TKO, secondly submitting Carla Esparza by submission in round number 2. Now would love to defend her title next year in 2023 in a pay-per-view in China, a main event, co-main event in China. I find it hard to believe that it would be a co-main event, considering she is the biggest Chinese MMA fighter in the world as of right now. But what do y'all think? Who should Zhang Weili fight if they do get her in China? Maybe a Rose Namajunas trilogy, Amanda Lemos, or maybe, just maybe, a Jessica Andrade rematch. What do y'all think? Who should she fight next? Next one in the welterweight division, or the pound-for-pound rankings. Israel, the last stylebender, drops 4 spots in the men's pound-for-pound rankings. Number 1, we got Alexander Volkanovski. Number 2, we got Islam Makhachev. Leon Edwards at number 3. I disagree with that. Kamaru Usman should be at number 3 in the welterweight division. Kamaru Usman and Francis Ngannou and Leon Edwards and Islam Makhachev all go above Israel Adesanya, who moves down to number 6 in the middleweight division. Not the middleweight, but the pound-for-pound rankings. Oliveira stays the same. Alex Pereira goes all the way up to number 8 in the UFC middleweight division. Sterling, Prochazka, Figueiredo, John Jones, Brandon Moreno, and Max Holloway was a glitch right there. Supposed to say Max Holloway. All are going to be moving down a spot. Or Dustin Poirier going to be staying the same, moving above Davison Figueiredo. But what do y'all think about these new ranking updates in the UFC? Do you agree with, Israel Adesanya going from number 2 to number 6? What do y'all think about the ranking updates? Put your thoughts down below. Next one. In the boxing division, Jake Paul agrees to face Tommy Fury in the UK, sends a contract deadline. He says, I'm going to give you 7 days time. If you do not reply, if you do not sign the contract, if you do not say that you would like to fight me in the UK in 2023, then we're just going to move past the Tommy Fury fight completely. So he gives him 7 days in an ultimatum, take the fight or we're not going to offer you it ever again. What do you think about this ultimatum? Will Tommy Fury accept? And will they be fighting in London in the UK? Who do y'all think wins and why? Tommy Fury or Jake Paul? Next one in the lightweight division, UFC lightweight ranking updates. We got Dan Hooker going above Damir Ismagulov, who's going to fight Arman Tsarukyan at a UFC fight night later on this year. We got Anato Moicano getting inside the top 15, going out there and absolutely destroying Brad Riddell with a round 1 submission. Jalen Turner at number 10 did the exact same thing to Brad Riddell as well. So they're all moving up the rankings quite a bit. Conor McGregor goes down 1 below Renato. Tony Ferguson goes down 1 below Renato as well. And Grant Dawson goes outside of the top 15 rankings. Do you agree or disagree with these new ranking updates? Next one in the pound for pound rankings. Amanda Nunes, number 1 pound for pound women's MMA fighter in the world. Valentina at number 2, but we had some movement in the top 5. Carla Esparza going from number 4 to number 6. Nama Yunus staying the same. Juliana Pena going down 1 spot below Zhang Weili, and Zhang Weili going from number 6 all the way up to number 3 as the 3rd best MMA fighter, women's MMA fighter in the world. Do you agree or disagree? Should Juliana Pena be above? Rose Namajunas be above since she beat Zhang Weili twice? What do y'all think about these ranking updates? Next, in the flyweight division, UFC Women's Flyweight ranking updates. We got Marina Moroz entering the top 15, kicking Molly Meatball McCann outside of the top 15. Erin Blanchfield going above Macy Barber and Casey O'Neill, bumping Casey outside of the top 10. Erin did recently call out Andrea Lee and Casey O'Neill. I think she should fight Viviane Araújo. But what do y'all think about these ranking updates? Next one, I'm not going to do that one. We already kind of talked about in the boxing division. Greg Hardy stepping in for Vitor Belfort to be boxing Hasim Rahman Jr. in a boxing match this Saturday. I'm not talking no December, January. I'm talking November 19th or 20th. This Saturday is going to be Greg Hardy, a UFC heavyweight fighter, taking on a guy that was supposed to fight Jake Paul not too long ago in Hasim Rahman Jr. as originally supposed to be Vitor Belfort and Hasim Rahman Jr., which would have been a pretty enticing matchup there. Now, we're getting a heavyweight in Greg Hardy to step up on short notice. What do y'all think about the fight? Who wins and why? Put your thoughts down below. Next one in the lightweight division. Hey, Michael Chandler, if you still want to be counted as a title contender in the lightweight division, let's make a war at Spring and see who is the better wrestler. Winner is going up in the UFC rankings. Enjoy your well-deserved rest for now. At UFC, at Sean Shelby, at Ariel Helwani. He's adding all the big names inside of the UFC. And if we go on to check out these UFC rankings in the lightweight division, well, these guys are pretty high on the lightweight rankings. Michael Chandler at number 5 and Mateusz Gamrot at number 8. Number 5, number 8, 5-round main event in the spring would be a good one. What do y'all think? Who should Michael Chandler fight next? Should it be Mateusz Gamrot, Eddie Alvarez, or maybe Conor McGregor? Put your thoughts down below. Who would win, Gamrot or Michael Chandler? Next one. In the light heavyweight division, Ovi St. Preux and Alexander Gustafsson has been cancelled for UFC 282, and now we're going to be getting Ovi St. Preux and Felipe Lins for UFC 282. I'm believing, most likely, that it is going to be on the prelims. I highly doubt they're going to make an Ovi St. Preux taking on Felipe Lins a main card level fight on a UFC 282 pay-per-view, so I'm assuming this one is going to be on the prelims for this UFC pay-per-view. Felipe Lins, 37 years old, Ovis at 39 years old, similar height and a little bit of a reach advantage for Ovis St. Preux, both losing 2 and then coming back with a good unanimous or split decision. Who do y'all think wins, Felipe Lins or Ovis St. Preux? I'm going to lean I'm going to lean Felipe Lins to get a very close, controversial 29-28 29-28 decision, but it's a close one, could go either way. Put your thoughts down below. Next one in the flyweight division, Silvana Gomez Suarez and Shayna Young had been cut or removed from the UFC roster. Shayna Young losing to Miranda Maverick in her last fight in the UFC by unanimous decision, 30-26 on some of those judges' scorecards, and Silvana Gomez Suarez losing a 29-28 unanimous decision to Carolina Kowalkiewicz at UFC 281. What do y'all think about these girls getting cut from the UFC? Is it deserving, or should they have one more shot in the UFC? Next one in the flyweight division, Mohammed Mokaev, UFC flyweight contender who most recently got inside of the top 15 after getting some good wins over Malcolm Gordon and Charles Johnson, as well as Cody Durden in his UFC debut, ranked at number 14 in the flyweight division, calls out the number 3 flyweight contender in the world. I mean, that's the kind of fight that freaking the champion Alex Pereira was able to get when he called out at the time, like number 5, number 6, Sean Strickland in the middleweight division when he was not even ranked in the middleweight division. That's the type of call out that Mohammed Mokaev is giving right here. But what do y'all think? Mohammed Mokaev versus Kai Kara France. Do you think this is a good call out? And if the fight were to happen in the flyweight division, do you think that Mohammed Mokaev would be able to beat Kai Kara France? For me, I'm going to lean Kai Kara to win the fight by a decision, 29-28, but it would be a very, very close one in the flyweight division. Put your early predictions down below in the comment section. Kevin Holland has no interest in wrestling with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I can strike with the best. Hashtag UFC Orlando. It's going to be a good fight card indeed. UFC Orlando is already shaping up to be a very, very good looking UFC fight. Now, you never know. There could be, I don't want to say it, but there could be a lot of cancellations. You never do know. But in 1 week, 2 weeks actually, I forgot the UFC has given us a 2-week freaking break from the UFC. We are going to be getting UFC Fight Night Thompson versus Holland. In the main event, Tuivasa Pavlovich, Eric Anders, Derek Brunson, Rafael dos Anjos, Hermanson, Nicolau Schnell, Barbarina, and so many other good prelim fights. I mean, the main event is Kevin Holland and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. What do y'all think? Will Kevin Holland mix in the takedowns, or will this be a striking fight? Will there be a KO, TKO, or will the fight go all the way? Put your predictions down below. I got Kevin Holland in a 48-47 decision. I actually think he is going to mix in a little bit of wrestling here and there to secure the rounds, but put your predictions down below. After that one, we go on to the lightweight division. Justin Gaethje believes a rematch with Charles do Bronx Oliveira or a clash with a Rafael Fiziev could be next in the UFC's lightweight division. Justin Gaethje says, I need 2 wins. It does not matter who. Personally, I believe Gaethje taking on Rafael Fiziev should happen at UFC 285 in Las Vegas, Nevada on the main card. 3 rounds, I mean possibly if they can do it, 5 rounds in the lightweight division. If he wins that one, then maybe do an Oliveira rematch or do a Dustin Poirier rematch or something like that. Then possibly he could be challenging for the belts if he can win those ones. But what do y'all think? Should Gaethje fight Rafael Fiziev, Charles Oliveira, or somebody else? That is it for today's MMA news. Now for the betting breakdown. Yo, Bert, what is up, Budrich? Dominic should retire. Carla should also retire. I mean, they're still at the top of their game, trying to get that paycheck, if you know what I'm saying. Bert, do you believe in girth? I don't know what that means. I don't know what girth means, but we go on to the betting breakdown. UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Spivak. Full card betting breakdown. We're going to look at every fight on the prelims, every fight on the main card, and look at the money line on all of those fights, the props on every single one of those fights, and if their money line is worth being parlayed. There's some people on here like Jack Della Maddalena that you will see is going to be a main component for a lot of parlays this weekend, as he is definitely one of my more confident picks for this UFC fight card. So we're going to do the UFC Fight Night betting breakdown and the best bets to make for UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. If you want the actual official bets that I'm going to be making, not just the tips and tricks that I'm going to be giving you in this video, check the link down below in the description. But with all that being said, let's check the first fight of the night. We got Natalia Silva and Teresa Bleda in the flyweight division. Right now, I have Natalia Silva winning by decision. If you want to go check out the actual prediction, you can definitely go look it up on YouTube, but based off of the bets. Yes, I do have Natalia Silva by decision, but minus 160, I'm not doing anything with that. I'm not going to parlay Natalia Silva. I'm not going to money line Natalia Silva or anything like that. I'm not doing any of that with Natalia Silva. And the fight to go to a decision minus 200, there's not enough value on that one as well. So we're going to have to look a little bit lower here. Silva by decision is at plus 150 right there on a bet online. Also has some good value, but the thing that's going to have the most value, right? You're not going to be plus 185 on Bleda by decision, which is what it should be, but it's going to be if you can get it. If your bookie does have these odds at plus 250, plus 240 for today's Bleda by decision, that is where the value is at. I believe Natalia Silva wins a 29-28, very close decision, but if you're going to be betting this fight, the best thing to do is that plus 250 on Bet365 if you're on there. If you're not, you're going to have to wait for a little bit later on in the week for a few of the other betting odds sites to get their odds out, but right now, plus 250, there is value on Teresa Bleda by a decision. Second fight of the night right here, we are going to have Fernie Garcia and Brady Heaston. For this one, I'm going to have to say Heaston scorecards no action is going to definitely have some value. I don't like the money line too much. At minus 155, I feel better about a few of the other fighters on this UFC Fight Night that are around minus 155 as well. So I'd rather just bet those fighters instead of risking it on a guy I'm not as confident in. Heaston inside the distance. Again, not the most value there. I'd rather do the inside the distance scorecards and no action. Decision prop, what are you going to get on that? Heaston by decision, plus 163. Not enough in my opinion. The only thing would be an inside the distance scorecards, no action for Brady Heaston. Next one is going to be a Maria Oliveira taking on Vanessa Demopoulos. This one is definitely going to be a close one in the women's flyweight, the women's isn't the flyweight division. Yeah, the strawweight division. I'm sorry about that one, but for this one, if you can get that, I mean, if you're able to get something like that, Demopoulos inside the distance, there is heavy value on Demopoulos to win inside the distance. She's got a good armbar. She's got good ground and pound. She's got some pretty decent striking as well. So that, plus 275 on Demopoulos, definitely is going to have a lot of value. Another one of them, if you want to parlay this one, this could be good. Demopoulos scorecards, no action. I don't remember the last time Maria Oliveira has gotten a finish over a good fighter. A 0-0 first round knockout. A 0-6 second round knockout. A 1-1 second round knockout. 0-1 first round knockout. She's knocking out and submitting scrubs right here. Absolutely scrubs in the UFC and outside of the UFC. And she's getting finished a lot. Armbar by Kana Asakura. Marina Rodriguez got knocked out there. Lost to Anne Ferreira. I do believe if there's going to be a finish, it'll be Vanessa Demopoulos. Only things, maybe do a little bit of a parlay with Demopoulos scorecards, no action. Or you sprinkle. Very small sprinkle on Demopoulos inside the distance. Next one, Miles Johns and Vince Morales. This one might be a pass. I don't like the money line. I don't like the underdog bet or anything like that. Goes to a decision, minus 138. Johns by decision, plus 240. That's decent. I'm going to be honest. Plus 240 is pretty decent. Yeah, that'd be it. It's literally the plus 240 Johns by decision, or just don't bet the fight at all. That's what I think is going to happen. There's a little bit of value there, but not a huge amount of value. So I would say just pass on the fight, but if you have to bet on something for this one, it would be the Johns by decision, because that's the only thing I see having just a little bit of value on this UFC fight card. Other than that, I'm really not liking too much for that fights. Kevin Natividad and Ricky Tercios. I'm actually liking a Tercios finish tercios by TKO right there at plus 550, or a tercios inside the distance at plus 300. I actually think that Ricky Tercios is going to be able to get the finish, so plus 300 is definitely going to have a lot of value. Not going to do any scorecards, no action, a little bit of a sprinkle on the inside of the distance, that would be about it, and possibly a parlay Ricky with a guy like Jack Della Maddalena to get some plus money, that'd be about it. Marina Moroz, Jennifer Maia, we already talked about it in the prediction video, but only thing, plus 220 Maia by decision, that is it. Plus 220 Maia by decision, or if you're on Bet Online where you can do the plus 3.5 rounds. If you don't know what it is, it's where if Marina Moroz wins a 29-28 decision on all judges' scorecards, you still win the bet. If you bet Jennifer Maia, plus 3.5 points on the judges' scorecards, and she loses 29-28, she will still win the fight. So it's either that plus 220 by decision for Jennifer Maia, or Jennifer Maia plus 3.5 point spread on Bet Online. Whatever odds that is going to be, that's about it for that one. We got Zhalga Zhumagulov and Charles Johnson. I do believe the fight will go all the way. The money line is decent for Charles Johnson, I would say. That's a pretty okay money line. In my opinion, I wouldn't really risk too much on a decision or an inside the distance. I can definitely see him catching Zhalgas in a submission. Zhalgas' chin is a little bit iffy as well. So, yeah, I would say money line or pass here. Maybe sprinkle on the decision for Charles Johnson, but mainly just money line or pass for Charles Johnson. Jack Della Maddalena, I would say for this one, you're not getting much value on Maddalena KO. So for this one, it's just a parlay piece. I don't want to do anything with a prop bets or anything like that. No. I'm not going to do anything with that. I'm going to actually do just a crazy coincidental type of bet right here in Maddalena's second round TKO at plus 350. That's my prediction. That's what I think is going to happen. I will be sprinkling an ever so small amount on that one right there. The other one I'm going to be doing is obviously parlaying Jack Della Maddalena in a few of my parlays, but that'd be about it. He is the parlay piece of the card. Andre Fialho, he was my underdog of the card originally. He was very good plus money, plus 130, plus 155 at one point. It was obviously an underdog or pass type of a fight. Now, fight goes to a decision is at plus 130. I actually think the fight goes to a decision, and I have Fialho winning, so plus 500. No brainer. That's the only thing I would do. Hodolfo and Cody is canceled, so you really can't do much there. Canadians, the Shuku and Iwan Kutelaba. I know a lot of you guys are going to want to do the Canadians, the Shuku by TKO right there, but sprinkle on Zishuku by submission. Sprinkle on Zishuku just a little bit by submission. I think he's going to get the knockout. I think he's going to go out there and TKO Iwan Kutelaba. But just sprinkle a little bit, just a little bit on Zishuku by submission, because there is heck of a lot of value for Iwan Kutelaba to have been submitted 2 times in a row in the UFC's light heavyweight division by Johnny Walker, a striker in his most recent fight. Kennedy showing really good wrestling recent. If he's able to rock Iwan, there's a good chance he just goes for the rear naked choke submission. So there is value on Kennedy by submission. Probably about all I would do. Maybe parlay Kennedy with Jack Della Maddalena and your confident picks from Bellator over here as well to get some plus money, but submission has a lot of value. Then we got, alright, we forgot to do Waldo versus Chase Sherman. This one's simple. It's just going to be Waldo by decision at plus 550. Has a lot of value in my opinion. And then the main event, Sergey Spivak and Derek Lewis right here. I'm going to be doing for this fight, honestly, under 3.5 rounds makes a lot of sense in my opinion, minus 400. I highly doubt this one gets into championship rounds, and if it does, Sergey's probably going to TKO with the gas Derek Lewis at that point, or Derek just catches him early on, so that under 3.5 could be a parlay piece right there that does not start round 4, could also be a parlay piece at minus 300. And obviously the Spivak TKO at plus 600 or plus 160, sorry about that. Or if you want to make it a little bit more interesting, there was one bet down here It's always down here. It's a fight ends by KO TKO. Minus 190 on either fighter wins by KO TKO. That seems like a bet to me. Minus 190 on FanDuel. That would be it. So the minus 190, either fighter wins by KO TKO. The under 3.5 or the does not start round number 4. Those are the bets to make in the betting breakdown for UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. Just a little bit of a parlay just for funsies right here. A long shot parlay to give to y'all for this UFC pay-per-view. I'm just kidding. It's the UFC Fight Night. We're going to go Sergey Spivak. We're going to go Waldo Cortez Acosta, Kennedy Nzechukwu, Jack Della Medellina, Charles Johnson, Ricky Tercios. And that is going to be about it. For plus 1,000 odds, you get a crazy plus money parlay right there. I have all of them winning. I feel decently about all of those guys. Just a fun parlay to do right there. Sprinkle a few dollars on. But that is the betting breakdown for UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. Alrighty, guys. Thank you guys for watching today's live stream. Yeah, like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one after we read the comments. Let's see. Betting breakdown, let's go Budrich. What's up, Nate Millar? Thoughts on Joey eating all my hot dogs? Makes sense. Don't pick Silva, I guarantee she loses. No such thing as a guarantee in MMA, but I said bet the underdog. Yeah, Anderson Silva will lose. Who's Anderson Silva fighting? I watched the Breda girl tape. She is big, strong, and can overpower Silva with ground and pound. Also, she checks kicks very well. Silva gets steamrolled. We shall see. I'll never bet on Derek Lewis. Such a risky bet. Very, very risky bet. Yeah, Spivak for sure. Lewis is washed. Miles Johns. Bert the Young God going live. Rejoice, people, rejoice. Ricky Turnips didn't impress me last fight, but Natividov layoff bet against. Not touching Charles Johnson. Deuce takedown defense is trash. Thank you guys for watching today's UFC Fight Night. Bets to make.